And the last division is based on fusion. So here I have drawn a chart for fusion for androecium and gynoecium. We have already seen the fusion case in case of calyx and corolla. If the calyx are fused, it is gamocephalous, and if the calyx are free, it is polycephalous. If the petals, that is your corolla, if the petals are free, polypetalous. If the petals are fused, gamopetalous. Same way we have fusion for androecium and gynoecium also. Coming for androecium, we know androecium is made up of filament and anther. Right? Filament and anther. This entire structure is known as stamen. This entire structure is known as stamen. Now here three conditions are possible. One, the entire stamen is free, that is free stamen. Another condition where filaments are fused but anthers are free. This is the second condition. All the filaments will be fused but the anthers will remain free. And third condition is your anthers are fused and the filaments are free. So based on this condition, we have different terms related to that. Wherever the entire stamen, that is a filament and anther, both are free, we call it as polyandrous. The condition is known as polyandrous. So this is how you can see all the stamens are free. Here the entire stamen is free. This you have to remember. Polyandrous. Poly is many, androus means anthers. Anthers means all the male part. So polyandrous, all the stamen will be free. The entire stamen will be free. Example is your rose. Now coming to free anthers and fused filament, where the filaments are fused but the anthers are free. There are three conditions: monoadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous. Mono means one, di means two, poly means many. So the term itself tells you how many bundles of stamens are there. So monoadelphous, in this what happens? All the filaments of the anthers fuse to form one staminal tube. So this is your staminal tube. So this is your staminal tube. So all the filaments will fuse to form a staminal tube and the anthers will remain free. This condition you might have seen in hibiscus, the shoe flower. In that hibiscus you will see all the anthers are free and there is a single tube. That tube is made up of fused filaments and that tube is known as staminal tube. Example is hibiscus. Coming to diadelphous, now in diadelphous you will see two bundles. Now these two bundles, they are not evenly distributed. One bundle is of 9 anthers and the other bundle is of single anther, single stamen. All the 9 anthers are free and the 9 filaments are fused. This you will see in pea plant, in pea flower. Next is your polyadelphous. Here they will form many bundles. Number of bundles are formed because of fused filament. So here I have drawn 3 bundles and you can see all the stamens are. Here I have drawn 3 bundles where all the filaments are fused to form 3 different bundles in this case and all the anthers are free. Then another condition related to androecium is fused and the anthers are fused now. Here you saw filaments were fused. Now you will see anthers are fused and filaments are free. That condition is known as syngenaceous. And the androecium looks somewhat like this. All the anthers are fused and filaments are free. This you will see in sunflower. In sunflower, the anthers form the disc and the filaments are free. This is all about your androecium, the fusion of androecium and their terms. Now coming to gynoecium. Gynoecium also we have three conditions. One is based on number of carpels, how many ovaries are present. Then fusion, whether the ovaries are fused or free. And then placentation, this is your arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. We have already seen. This is your carpel and this is your ovary. So, this is your ovule, this is your ovary, style and stigma. So, this is the structure of your gynoecium, a typical gynoecium. So now here ovules you can see inside the ovary. How these ovules are arranged inside the ovary will tell you the placentation. So placentation is nothing but the arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. Now what is that? How does it look like? As we continue with this, you will come to know. Coming to number of carpels. If there are one carpel, monocarpellary, if only one ovary is present, like in your bean. You have seen bean seed, gram seed. When you open the ovary wall, you will see only one ovule in that. So this is monocarpellary, single ovary. Then bicarpellary. In bicarpellary, you will see there are two ovaries present in it, like in mustard. Like in mustard, two ovaries are present in this. And polycarpellary, many ovaries are present. Many ovaries are present in polycarpellary. Now these ovaries can be fused or free. When I come to apocarpus, apo means free. The ovaries are free, and in syncarpus, ovaries are fused. In apocarpus, the condition called apocarpus, the ovaries will be free, and in syncarpus, the ovaries will be fused. So this is a structure which I have drawn. You can see many ovaries are present and all the ovaries are free. This you will see in rose plant. In rose, you will see all the ovaries are free. Coming to syncarpus, all the ovaries are fused. So you will have one single fruit. The fruit will be one single fruit. But when you cut the fruit, you will see the number of ovaries in that. For example, in lady's finger. All of you have seen lady's finger? All of you have seen lady's finger? This is how when you cut the lady finger, this is how it looks. Now inside this structure, you will have seeds. This is how your lady's finger look like. Now in lady's finger, the number of compartments that you see is the number of ovaries. The number of compartments that you see is the number of ovaries, and the arrangement, the red part, the red dot that you see are the ovules, the seeds. Those are the seeds, and how they are arranged inside the fruit tells you about the placentation. So in cucumber you have seen, this is one placentation where the ovaries are fused. This is your lady's finger. So here ovaries are fused, so you can see all the 5 ovaries in this. Clear? And then even cucumber, when you cut cucumber, what do you see? How do you see that? This is your cucumber and 3 compartments are there, and you will see the seeds like this. So this is your cucumber, and you will see the seeds are arranged in this manner. So in cucumber, this is the arrangement of seed, and in lady's finger, this is the arrangement of seed, that is your ovule. And these two are different types of placentation. So what is placentation? Placentation is simply the arrangement of ovules in the ovary. And this placentation is very common in your syncarpus ovary. That is a syncarpus gynoecium. Clear? So this is all about your fusion of gynoecium. Now apart from this, there are some more special cases where you will see the flower very different from your general flower. Like in bougainvillea. In bougainvillea, you will see the flower is a very small flower and surrounded by colorful bracts. So this red color structure that you see, the red color structure that you see are the bracts. And this is your actual flower, which is very small and not so attractive, even it is not visible. So the bracts carry out the function of attracting the flowers. Then we have perianth. So here we are talking about bracts. Another special feature about the flower is perianth. Sometimes what happens, calyx and corolla are not differentiated, clearly differentiated. They both are fused and we cannot make out whether it's a calyx or corolla. So in such cases, those petals or those units are known as perianth. And each unit of perianth, like calyx, each unit of calyx is sepal, each unit of corolla is petal. Same way, each unit of perianth is your tepal. This tepal may be green or colorful. If it is green and carry out the function of calyx protection, then it is known as sepaloid. So we have two types of perianth, sepaloid and another is your petaloid. If it is brightly colored and carry out the function of pollination for attracting the insects. So perianth, they are either sepaloid or petaloid. Apart from this, there are two more structures called nectaries and spur. Nectaries are nothing but the special outgrowth containing scented liquid, which is very rich in sugar and serve as a food for insects. So insects are attracted by the sweet scent and they collect the nectar and feed on them. But in that process, they help the plant or the flower to carry out pollination. Spurs are also special outgrowths for enhancing the beauty of the flower. So till now, whatever we have studied, be it the terms, be it the structure, be it the shape, size, color, whatever we have studied was about the single flower. What is single flower? Single flowers are those flowers which appear singly in the axil of the leaf, like your hibiscus. But have you seen marigold and sunflower? They are also single flower, but you are going wrong there. They are not single flower but a cluster of flowers, the bunch of flowers. Now in sunflower and marigold, what you see, the single leaf, the leaflet, single leaflet that you see is the entire single flower. So we will divide the flower into two types, that is a solitary flower and inflorescence. Solitary flowers are those flowers which appear singly in the axil of the leaf, whereas inflorescence are the bunch of flowers. They are the bunch of flowers that we see in sunflower and marigold. So what is an inflorescence? Inflorescence is the arrangement of flower on the floral axis. For example, suppose I draw sunflower. This is how a sunflower looks like. So each petal is your single flower and the stalk. This is your floral axis, and the stalk on which these flowers are born is known as peduncle. It is known as peduncle. The individual unit, the individual flower may be pedicellate or sessile. If they have stalk, that stalk is known as pedicel, because this is a single flower. But now we have group of flowers arranged on the floral axis, and that stalk is known as peduncle. So this peduncle can be branched or unbranched. Depending on the branching and unbranching of peduncle, we have two types of inflorescence. That is your racemose and cymose. In racemose, what happens? The terminal end never ends in a flower. It continuously blooms in acropetal succession. So suppose this is your peduncle, and each will have a flower. So you can see this is the middle axis is your peduncle, where the flowers are born in acropetal succession. This is your acropetal succession. Now in acropetal succession, what happens? The flower at the base blooms completely, whereas you will see the buds in the upper or the terminal part of the axis. So these are your flowers, the mature flowers. These are your mature flowers. The mature flowers are at the base, and the young buds are at the terminal and at its apex. This is known as acropetal succession, seen in racemose. So in racemose inflorescence, what happens? The terminal end never ends in a flower. It continues to grow and bloom continuously. Then coming to cymose. In cymose, what will you see? The terminal end ends in a flower. So this is your flower and the adjacent side. So this is your main axis, where the terminal ends into a flower. Here also you will have a flower here, and this will have the buds. Here also. So in cymose inflorescence, the tip, the axis, the main axis ends in a flower, and now the branches will grow from the adjacent side, like here. In this also, suppose this is the branch, again the apex, the tip will terminate into a flower, and these two are buds. Alongside you will see buds. So this is your basipetal succession. This is your basipetal succession, in which the flower is at the tip and the buds are at the lower end, at the basal part. So this is your basipetal succession seen in cymose, whereas acropetal succession, where the mature flowers are at the base and young buds are at the tip, seen in racemose. Here, this is all about your flower. With this, we come to the end of the chapter flower. Now what you have to do is practice the terms, draw a neat label diagram, study the diagram thoroughly and the terms related to those diagrams. That's all for today. Thank you.